Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast episode 90. Tonight, we're talking why Nintendo ditched F-Zero. We're talking how long does it really take to convert motion controls to the Switch, and what Wii U games still need to be ported. Talking all of that and more. Out there, Nintendo Pals. I am Andros, one of the hosts of this amazing podcast, all about Nintendo and friendship. And speaking of friendship, I'm joined by fellow Nintendo pal, Micah.
Yup.
And we got a fantastic show for you tonight. But before we dive into any of that, I always gotta ask, Micah, how the heck are you?
Doing pretty good.
Nice. Also doing pretty good. Got my Kirby shirt, got my gaming mug. I'm set. With the loudest sip in the world.
It's kind of hard to see, but I got my shirt with a guy riding a dinosaur, and then below it says "Magic Happens."
That is a pretty great shirt. Wait, what does the top say? Is that like a place you went?
Moab, Utah.
Nice. All right.
That's where I got it.
Where you can ride dinosaurs and magic happens. Micah, before we start doing anything else, I want to give a reminder to everybody out there that we are doing a huge giveaway for the Nintendo Pals Podcast 2-year anniversary. That's right. We're heading into our terrible twos, but we're going to give away a prize. And Micah, what are we giving away?
I believe it's actually right there behind you.
Yes, it's a Nintendo Switch OLED. Well, that's just a box. It's not the actual OLED. We're giving away a Nintendo Switch OLED to one lucky YouTube subscriber or Twitch follower. You can enter twice. So if you follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube, and then post on any social media channel with the hashtag NintendoPalsBDay, tagging a friend. That's all you got to do to enter to win. And we'll be drawing and contacting the winner on our 2-year anniversary, which is May 29th. And submissions close for entering into the contest the 28th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. You're pretty excited about it, Mike. I can tell.
Pumped, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I win.
You're hoping you win. Yeah, I hope. Could you imagine if we do draw you?
I mean, them's
we
the
wouldn't
rules,
tell
right?
We would give it to someone. We would give it to someone else. Yeah.
I think you mean we'd pretend to give it to someone else. I would have earned it.
Yeah. Well, we're not giving it to Micah, so don't worry about that, anybody listening. But we will be doing that giveaway on the 29th, and stay tuned for our 2-year anniversary. And huge thanks to everybody who's entered in already. We have seen a huge growth on our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel, and everybody is so kind and nice. They're like out there posting and sharing. It's really cool. It's very cool. But speaking of kind, nice, and posting and sharing, Micah, do you know what we are doing today?
Taking over the world?
We're going to try to take over the world of Nintendo podcasts. And we do that through 5-star reviews, because every time you leave a 5-star review, it helps someone else find the show. And it makes us feel good about ourselves. It's a win-win-win.
That's the real reason.
That's the real reason. We got 2 new 5-star reviews this week on Apple Podcast. And Micah, let me tell you, that taking over the world thing, it's working. We're going international this week. International. Reaching outside where we live in the United States, because Nintendo Pals knows no boundaries. You can be a Nintendo Pal no matter where you live. So thank you to everybody who's left us reviews all over the place. First one here.
I think this next one. I think this next one might be the most heartfelt and precious to my heart review we've gotten yet.
I'll let you read it.
By Not Me 435 from Europe, titled "It's So Good," and all they say is "poo."
Poo.
5-star poo.
At least it's a 5-star review. I don't think this is speaking to the content of our show, is poo. I think they just want to hear us say poo on the show. And I'm fitting it in as many times as I can, because poo is fun to say. Either that, or this is like a subtle hint at your opinion towards Ocarina of Time and how they feel about it.
I think you mean your opinion of Ocarina of Time and how they feel about it.
I don't know about that. Not me, 435. You'll have to clarify. But thank you so much for leaving us a 5-star review. And poo to you too. Appreciate that. Next review comes from JDP Kart, who is regular on our streams as well as in our Discord community, from Australia, the land down under. That's probably like offensive.
Careful before you offend someone.
Yeah, I'm not. I better run. I better take cover. It's so funny about it. It's a song. Okay. Friendship over Nintendo is what JDP Kart titles this one. And he says, Andros and Micah are the Nintendo pals for a reason. Two friends coming together over their love of Nintendo. While the two tend to contrast each other, this is actually a good thing, as different perspectives leads to great listening. Well worth your time. That's so kind. So very kind to say. You know, we were talking about this. I think this was in last week's post show, Micah. We were talking about how it's apparent on the podcast that we contrast each other. And people seem to point this out like, oh, you guys are so different. But when we're together, we really aren't. we have a, I mean, you could look at our like gaming catalog and we play a lot of the same stuff. And, and then our personalities actually mesh very well. And we're very similar in person. I'd say Micah is not quite as like outgoing as me, but when it's just us, we're the same. That's probably. I mean, will you argue with that? I'm talking for you here.
Well, maybe I will argue with that.
Maybe I am my own person. All right, I'm not you.
I mean, I don't want to contrast you right now, but you could be wrong.
Yeah, we were talking about how it seems to like all of our mannerisms seem to sync up when we hang out with each other for any sort of time, and it happens with our whole friend group as well from high school.
Yeah, we've all kind of meshed.
Yeah,
into one weirdo of mannerisms.
Yeah, our mannerisms and our like personalities all sort of like come together in a fun way. But I feel like the only spot that we truly contrast on is
the GameCube.
The GameCube, and the fact that I haven't played a lot of the GameCube games, so Micah will not let me live that down. And then Ocarina of Time. That's it. Other than that, I feel like we pretty much agree on almost everything. Anytime we do like these tier lists, we tend to agree on pretty much everything.
Yeah, plus it's just fun to argue sometimes.
Yeah, Micah just likes to argue with me. There we have it. Admittance on the show. This is immortalized. Someone clip it. Yeah, and it's a good time. We have a good time. And this is our friendship. This is how we always were with all of our friends as well. I'm over explaining. Let's just go to our next review here. All right. Thank you so much for the review, JDP Kart. 2 5-star reviews. And that's the first one we have from Australia. So, hey, all our Aussie pals out there, jump on over. Help us out. Help spread the word. Spread the love of Nintendo pals. This one isn't a 5-star review, but I wanted to share it because It is probably the nicest thing I've ever heard someone say about our show. This comes from our buddy Dan, aka the mastermind of Retrologic podcast, and he left this on Twitter. It's just a post that he made. If you own a Nintendo Switch, you must follow at Nintendo Pals. Not only because they're some solid dudes, but they've been pushing out some top-notch content for 2 years now. In a sea of unending mediocrity, they're a breath of fresh air. And holy cow, that's so nice. Thank you for doing that, Dan.
So poetic.
Yes, it sounds so.
Them fancy words.
If we had a box for Nintendo Pals, right? Like a box that our podcast came in, this would be on the back of the box for sure.
Oh yeah.
Quote. It's the back of the box quote. Yeah, it was just super, super nice of him. If anyone here has not already, check out Retrologic podcast if you're into retro gaming in any way, shape, or form. They're a fantastic show. They started about the same time as us. We consider them brother podcasts, sister podcasts, whatever you want to say. We're in that little trio there with us, Retrologic, and the All In Nintendo podcast. Fantastic group. If you want to be awesome and fantastic like that group, you could leave us a 5-star review. And you can do that on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, on Spotify, and on Audible. Those are all platforms that support 5-star reviewing. Podchaser, we are super close to becoming the most reviewed Nintendo podcast on the platform. So help us out. If you haven't already, it's easy to sign up. Yeah, you just go make an account. You can leave 5 stars, write some words, or not. You can just leave the 5 stars. That's all there is to it. And I'm pretty excited because we're going to be taking over that. Ronin Geek official podcast is the top-rated Nintendo podcast. It's not even a Nintendo-focused show. I'm sure it's a fine show. I haven't listened to it, but it's not Nintendo-focused, and we need to fix that. All right, help us take over the world of Nintendo podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. It really does help us out a ton. And then shout out one more time. We are going for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 1,000 followers on Twitch. Thanks to this giveaway and a bunch of people spreading the word, we are now over 400 followers on Twitch. We are well over 300 on YouTube for subscribers and counting. So thank you so much. But we got to hit that 1,000. Listen, I know this sounds like really pushy and self-advertising on the YouTube and Twitch stuff, but the reason we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube is because they won't let you monetize your videos until then. Now, it's playing ads already. You can't. All videos get ads unless you're paying for the YouTube membership. But we're not seeing any of that come to us. It's all going straight to YouTube because we don't have 1,000 subscribers.
It's the principle of the matter.
Yeah, I don't like it, and we need your help. We need you to help us take over the world. All right. Now that that's all out of the way, Micah, anything else I'm forgetting?
Probably.
All right. Well. Oh well. Let's move to the next segment of our show, and let's talk. What you playing? Micah, what have you been playing, man? What's new in the gaming sphere for you?
Last night I busted out some Sonic Spinball for the first time in a decade. And finally managed to beat it with only relatively minor amounts of cheating. Which later turned into lots of cheating.
You relied pretty heavily on the rewind functionality, but I cannot blame you. It's how did anybody beat the game without that?
Yeah, I think I got through the first 2 levels without it, and then I started having to use it a bit in the 3rd level, and then during the main boss I used it all the time because that boss makes no sense. But it's still very good, and I gotta say I think it does in fact hold up better than Ocarina of Time.
I mean, that's not necessary to do to every game you play to compare it to Ocarina of Time. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's not necessary, but I will. I will
On
do
a
that.
scale of Ocarina of Time to not Ocarina of Time, where would you rate this game, Micah?
This game was very much not Ocarina of Time. No, I mean it was a lot of fun, but there were some annoyances, especially the main boss. I looked up because there's a button, and you have to hit this button a certain number of times, and then you can hit your way around behind the boss and damage him. But I found out you have to hit the button 3 times, and then for a short window of time, you can get behind him and hurt him. And if you don't hit it 3 times, he just like throws you out essentially. And if he does that enough, you like break through the wall and have to climb all the way back up. But apparently, so yeah, you hit it 3 times, and there's no indication that you can now hurt him. The only way to see is to check, which can lead to you getting thrown out of the level essentially. And if you hit the button a 4th time, it apparently he goes back to defending himself. And then supposedly the next time you have to hit it 5 times or something. I don't know. It's like some weird pattern, and I don't know how anyone was supposed to figure this out. But I must use to rewind like 50 times in that fight because of that. Except for that boss design being like the worst boss design of anything I've ever played in my entire life. It was still fun.
I really enjoyed the part where you discovered that you could move the paddle up, and you had been trying to perfectly hit this very impossible to do shot for quite some time.
Yeah, there's like this long, just tall hallway, and I was trying to get into this perfect section off to the right, and I've been trying for like 15 minutes, and apparently if you just hold the flipper up to cradle essentially Sonic, the platform just raises up and makes it so much easier. And I don't know how I was supposed to know that.
Yeah. Some classic Sonic.
I also don't know why it took so long for me to figure out, just through trial and error though. That's after I'd been ranting about how it was like the worst game design I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. Too good. Too good. Well, what else have you been playing besides Sonic Spinball?
I finished up BioShock 2 from the BioShock collection. So probably going to take a little break from BioShock before starting Infinite. Because right before that I played through the first one, so.
I thought 2 was Infinite. There's a third? There's 3 BioShock games?
Unless, I mean, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure.
Which one was the one you're playing? The one that takes place in the sky? No. Sky World? Oh, nope. Okay. Well, then that must be Infinite, I guess. Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, that was pretty good.
What are your thoughts overall on it? I guess. Was it good?
I liked it. I thought it was better than the first in almost every way, except the first one let you like go back and replay. Like it was kind of like open world ish. You could like go through the levels and get back to your previous levels essentially, so you can explore and find all like these audio diary things that you had missed and whatnot. And the second one does not allow you to do that. So if you miss something, you've missed it, which is definitely a bummer. But the combat seemed a lot better to me. Okay. That's the important stuff anyways.
Infinite is apparently very different. I mean, it takes place in like a sky world, which interesting. I know vaguely about the plots of those games.
Oh yeah, I only found out when starting the original BioShock that it takes place in an underwater city.
Ah.
So I went into these games essentially knowing nothing.
Nice. And then so as a fresh player, so you want to take a break from BioShock just to kind of cleanse before diving into the next one.
I mean, they're relatively old-ish, and there were a couple things that minor annoyances about them, but it's also just a lot of one game to be playing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, I of course played on the hardest difficulty, so I was getting my butt kicked a lot.
That would do it.
So yeah, I needed a nice easier game to play, like Forbidden West on the hardest difficulty.
So you played some Forbidden West as well.
Yeah, but that's not Nintendo, so I wasn't really going to mention it.
Yeah, get that out of here. We don't talk about Forbidden West here. But that's cool. That is cool. I played some more Slay the Spire. Been playing a lot of Slay the Spire, trying to beat the game with the other characters, and I have gotten very far, but have not been able to finish up. I told you the sad tale yesterday, I think,
Yep.
of getting all the way to the final boss and being one turn away from winning and dying. Just like,
Don't you wish you had a rewind function right there?
yeah, every game should have rewind. That would be so
I
terrible.
mean, that's why it's so good that every game doesn't have rewind, because I really don't want to use it, but I know there are situations where I definitely would abuse that ability.
The temptation is too great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's built into the game functionality and in a way that story beat makes sense, like I think Prince of Persia uses sort of like a rewind type
Yeah.
functionality.
I don't know
So
exactly how it works, but yeah, the sands
something
of
like
time.
that I think would make sense and be cool, but not for every game. You're right.
Yeah, we need
I
another
played that.
time manipulation game.
I am
come out.
loving Slay the Spire to the point where I'm like, I need to go back and play. I have Monster Train on here. I got a review code for that back in the day.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And I want to play some more of these like card based games. And I'm playing a lot of a board game, which is not Nintendo, but I guess I'll talk a little bit about it. That's because that's what I spent most of my evenings doing this week, was playing Lord of the Rings: Journeys Through Middle Earth. And it's an app supported board game, so the app tells you what to put on the board and keeps track of a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, which is really nice, because then it's easier for it to be a surprise to you instead of having to like set up the board already and like know where everything is.
I mean, there are games that do that without the apps. Like most legacy games have those like different things you open and goes, but
Yeah,
this
but that has lots of reading and stuff, and all these
tons
steps.
of pieces that you have to put out and put together. So this is like relatively easy to pull out and play, which I think is a big win. And I'm very immersed into it right now. Like I really am invested in winning each of the little campaigns, and I found out there's a whole bunch of expansions, so I'm set for a while. I'm pretty excited. Besides that, I played through the entire quest of Terrytown in Breath of the Wild, and I had so much fun doing it that I have a really fun stream idea. I am going to try and get up to, I think it's Va Meadow, the bird thing, without doing the story properly. I'm gonna use different ways to get up to it, and I'm excited. It doesn't actually work. I have been able to do it before using some glitches, and it is not a solid object in the sky.
Because I think I've seen people like manage to fly up to it, and it's just.
But I still think it would be fun to try, like all the different ways to just get up super high on the map. Like the Octorok balloons. Oh man, I had so much fun messing around with the Octorok balloons, and I like never really did that in my main playthroughs. I am excited. I'm so into Breath of the Wild and I'm discovering things every time I play that I'm like, I need to mess around with this some more. And so fun. Just a great game. The best game of all time.
That's how it starts, and then 100 hours later, you've gotten every Korok seed.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And then besides that, played a little bit of Nintendo Switch Sports with the family. I want to play more of that. Just haven't had a whole lot of free time, but I want to play more of that because they're putting some cool unlockables in it. You could get a squirrel character now. You can be a squirrel, which is really cool. And then today, I think they launched some new costumes that were like ninja and SWAT team looking suit. It's pretty cool. So
let me know when they let you be a turtle, and then maybe I'll be tempted.
All right, will do. I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know what I'm gonna get with these costumes after that squirrel. Like,
But yeah, the
anthropomorphic.
possibilities are endless now.
Yeah, we
They've
could get
opened the
anything.
gates.
And also, I do want to highlight this. My kids have been really into Pokemon Smile. We play that every day for bedtime teeth brushing. And they are so into it. They love getting a new Pokemon every night, and we have the ritual with my son. So he plays, goes through the Pokemon, and then we have to read off the stats for the Pokemon. He wants to know how tall it is and how much it weighs, which is all kept in the Pokedex in the game. And then he gets to make a little picture with the character, and it's cool. I am really glad that this app exists. I remember when it first launched, I was like, who would ever use this? And I am using
Joke's
it
on
to
you.
teach,
It's you.
yeah, teach my kids to brush their teeth. They didn't want to brush their teeth. They didn't want to do it. And now they do every night. They're like, yeah, I want to brush my teeth. My daughter, who's 2, was just so excited. Anytime. So you start, it's 2 minutes. And once you have brushed your teeth to a clean enough spot, a Pokemon appears and the music gets more intense. It's like, da, 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 and then you have to brush to clean off the Pokemon who is covered in like smoky purple
Plaque.
stuff, which I guess is supposed to represent like plaque or germs. And by brushing your Pokemon, which is on your tongue in the in the thing, it's like a mouth that's like on the tongue, and you have the teeth. It shoots little swift beams at the thing to clean it off. And then if you get it 100% clean, you get a Master Ball. If you get it partially clean, depending on how dirty it is, you get different Pokeballs with different cat traits. There's actually quite a bit to this game. When the Pokemon appears, my daughter stops everything. She's like, I gotta get that Pokemon! And then just like goes, Grah! Just like goes crazy trying to clean super fast. And it is one of the funnest moments as a gaming parent that I get to experience, is seeing my kids get excited. And now they recognize Pokemon out in the wild, like at stores and stuff. They're like, look, it's a Pikachu. And I see
Just
a Snorlax.
out in the woods, recognizing all those Pokemon.
Yeah, all them Pokemon
they
in
see
the woods. It's so fun. Such a great app. If you have kids, have them try it out. It's pretty good, especially little kids. your teenage kids might not be as into it. Maybe they would be, though. You never know.
And if you're like 80 years old, maybe your kids wouldn't be as excited by this.
You just give it to like your full-grown grandpa that is your son or daughter.
Yeah.
Use this for
who knows? Anyone could like this.
Yeah. When are we gonna get? You know what we need? We need Pokemon Shave.
Sleep.
Pokemon Shave.
Oh yeah.
I would be all for that. I need.
Except that's not very good for kids.
To shave no, for me, for my age range.
Yeah, as you can see, I also.
Yeah,
I've struggled having the motivation to shave this week.
It's no fun. Anyways, that's what I've been playing this week. So yeah, let's head out of the what you playing zone, and let's just jump right on into the Nintendo news. Heyo, we got a lot of news to cover this week. I'll kick things off here. Kirby and the Crystal Shards is out now on N64 Online. I wanted to play it before we went tonight, but ran out of time. Have you got a chance to look at this one yet, Micah?
I have not.
We'll have our thoughts on this one next week. My son played it today, and he seemed like he was having a good time with it. Heads up, you cannot use the joystick to move. You have to use the D-pad. He was getting very frustrated.
That's what I was going to use anyways. I use the D-pad for every 2D platformer.
Did you say D-fad? I used
Maybe
the fads.
Maybe I did. But maybe I didn't. Maybe you just misheard what I said.
That's probably true. Questioning everything now.
Technically, possibly true.
I've heard a lot of great things about Kirby and the Crystal Shards. It's a lot of Kirby fans' favorite in the series, so...
Yeah, I'll definitely be giving it a try at some point.
Same here.
I just forgot it came out. Not gonna lie. And we also found out that Fall Guys is going to be coming to Switch June 21st, and it will also be free to play, which is
Oh,
the
hot
best way
diggity
to
dog.
play.
Hot diggity dog. Just yeah, like I'm so glad we waited.
It's
Yeah,
worth it now.
it's worth it now. It only took 2 years and we didn't have to spend $20.
Hey, I've done that with a lot of games. I've
um
played a lot of Xbox games by having a friend to let me borrow his Xbox 360 like 8 years after it came out. That's how I'm playing
this
all these PS4 games.
yeah, yeah, it's true. This is apparently going to have platform progression as well.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Listen, as much flack as people give Epic for Fortnite, they know how to do these online free to plays right. They're doing a good job with them, and I think that they've done a great job so far with Rocket League. Fortnite obviously is doing very well, and I hope Fall Guys is going to have that same sort of boost from having that support. And
Yeah.
yeah, Fall Guys has cross progression before Apex Legends does.
I don't know if Apex will ever get cross progression.
How does that even work? Anyways, I'm excited. I am very excited to try this one out. It's taking so long, but what do you think, Mike? Do you think this will give this enough of a boost for this to get back into the limelight a bit? Because I'd say most people would say Fall Guys is pretty dead, at least by where it was when it launched. That first
Yeah, it was like
couple months.
it was quite popular for a
Mm-hmm.
time. I mean, I think it'll give it a little bit of a second life. I don't think it will ever reach the same high, but I think it can get a fair amount of people interested.
Well, I think going free to play would automatically boost the numbers. But then the fact that it's coming to all platforms, it will be available on PC, on Xbox, on PlayStation, and on Switch. I mean, there's a huge potential audience there. A lot of the core gaming audience is multi-platform already, but the majority of console owners are not. I'd say the majority own just one system. So there's a bunch of people that didn't buy the PlayStation. It's an untapped market. As RW Oso, our buddy from Barely a Gaming podcast, which you should check out, is pointing out in the chat, they're also adding a level builder.
Oh, I'd forgotten
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, I mean, if that gets popular, lots of
Mm-hmm.
people sharing their levels can be a
Mm-hmm.
big boost as well.
Yeah. There is potential for this game to just get massive again. I think we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of people were like, it's out of its hype cycle, but I think maybe that might turn around to be in its advantage. It's been a couple years since that big boost it had, and so it'll be like a new game again for people that did play, and a new game for everybody that didn't. Yeah. I wonder how the like battle pass and monetization will work, but if it's anything like Fortnite, you won't have to buy it to play like everything. So that's pretty cool. I think that the way that they somehow are making billions of dollars off just cosmetic purchases is a win-win-win for everybody except for the people that are spending money, I guess. But
It could still be a win for them. The
yeah,
only
I mean
people who
they're
it's
happy.
a lose for is the parents of children who aren't supposed to be spending money on these things that are.
Yes, that's true. Next news item. There is a game that got a lot of attention because it showed up on an IGN, like, gosh, I don't even remember what they're called. It's bad news reporting here. IGN does like a highlight of indie games, and they're doing like a contest where you can win a prize. Misplaced, and that is spelled MYSPLACED.
I
Is an
kept
indie
wanting to
game.
read it as MySpace.
Yeah, same. Is an indie game that is being accused of being way too similar to Zelda Link's Awakening, the new deluxe, I guess, DX. What is it called on
Actually, I
the
don't know.
Switch? I think it's just Link's Awakening on the
Yeah, I
on
don't
the
think it has
Switch.
any other like fancy
That
name.
toy box look, you guys know what I'm talking about. Everybody listen knows what I'm talking about. That like claymation-y, almost cartoony look. It looks pretty dang close to that, like nearly identical. Uh and there's a lot of people up in arms about it, like this is way too similar. Why not be, you're not original, and I say
No one's
this
original anymore.
I wanted to talk about this because it is an interesting point. At what point is it too far to make your game look like another game? You
I
draw
don't think it
inspiration
looks
from.
that crazy similar.
Oh, you don't? I saw it. I thought it looked pretty 1-to-1, minus the characters.
I mean, it's the same kind of style, but I feel like they have their own little bit. It seems like they have enough differences.
Well, Zelda clones have been around forever. I mean, you got, even on Switch, there's a big one with like Oceanhorn and Oceanhorn 2, which were like straight Zelda ripoffs. The character even dresses like Zelda. Not Zelda. Oh my gosh, like Link. Good grief. Embarrassing.
Wow.
Embarrassing. Yeah,
I
so
can't believe
like they wear the hero's tunic. And it's I was that didn't get taken down. I don't think Nintendo can really come after this game, but people seem to get upset every time these sort of clone projects come. Do you remember when Genshin Impact was launched and everybody was like, "This Breath of the Wild clone, this is garbage." Like they're copying it like beat for beat. And if you watched the trailer, I mean, you could definitely see where they were drawing heavy inspiration from Breath of the Wild. But then the actual game. So I just remember people being up in arms. There was even like the news story where that guy broke his PlayStation. I think that was fake. That can't be real. Someone broke their PlayStation because they were ashamed that Genshin Impact was too similar to Breath of the Wild. No. But the actual game plays like almost nothing like Breath of the Wild. It's like an MMO, and it's very mobile gamey in a lot of respects. It does have open world, but there's like different characters and lots of magic and stuff. It Why did they make their trailer look like that? It really sold a different game. And
it
then
worked real well for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, in the case of Misplaced, I mean, these poor indie devs. I think it's like a 2-man team, something like that. I mean, the only reason they're getting any sort of attention like this is because IGN is like spotlighting it, and they were like, "Look at how inspired it is by this game," and everybody's like, hey, "Wait a second." So it's like, I don't know. A lot of indie games look really similar to other game counterparts, but maybe this one's just too new. You know what I mean? Because a lot of indie games draw inspiration from old games and try and make them more NES styled or SNES styled. I don't know. I'm interested where the line is for you. You don't seem to be too phased by it. I'm not
No, I
offended
mean,
by
I think
this.
it's fine. I mean, like the art style is very similar, but I mean, I don't think
Mhm.
they look that similar to each other. I mean, this guy also has a hat, but it's like a miner's hat. Kind of looks like it's like some goggles on it or something. It's a similar art style, but I think
Right.
like
That's why Nintendo will not be taking this down. I mean, it's unless they are stealing assets, which from what I was seeing, they're not. There's nothing they can do. You can't copyright an art style.
yeah. Plus, there's all these like photorealistic games that come out, and those are like all the exact same.
True. True. But
Granted, this
I
is a little more unique of an art style.
I do feel like there is a line, and maybe they're treading a little too close with it. Give it your own spin, right? Like give it much more of your own spin. You could use this art style and not do a top down Zelda clone. Like they're copying the art style and the gameplay, and so I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I like to have something unique, rather than something that mimics what something else did successfully, but sometimes that turns out really good. So I don't think this indie game is going to be talked about like Tunic. You know what I mean? Where Tunic has a very unique art style, but it is very clearly Zelda inspired.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But
well, I'll let you take this next news item then, since you think it's fine. That's not why, but you can take the next news.
yeah, Tom, I'm probably going to say his name wrong. Tom Crago, CEO of Tantalus. I don't know if I even said that correct. Talks about the difficulty of converting Skyward Sword's HD motion controls, and apparently it took about a year and a half for the port to come out. And they said they would love to port Twilight Princess HD to Switch, but haven't been approached yet. See, this is why you read all the news items.
I probably would have made the same mistake there, because Twilight Princess and Switch next to each other makes Twitch. I do that all the time. Like I mix my brain reads ahead, and my mouth sometimes goes a little too far with the brain, and then the words merge into one word. Big problem that I have. This is interesting. It took around a year and a half to do the port, and he highlighted that the bulk of this was figuring out how to do the motion controls properly, because they wanted to get the feel right and also do the button controls justice.
Yeah, I mean, they said it wasn't like the whole year and a half to do the motion controls, but
No.
it was, I think they said they're at least one of the biggest difficulties getting it right.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting.
Still seems like quite a while.
And it makes you wonder, like, just stop and think about how long it really does take to port games from old systems to newer systems. And maybe we should stop
asking
like
for all
it's
these
easy.
quick and easy ports.
Yeah, we're like, why don't they just bring over the Metroid Prime trilogy? I mean, it's been cited from multiple people that I seem to recall reading in an interview with a former retro employee that was like, it would take a significant amount of work. Like a team of this size, it would take years. And so we maybe are thinking this is way easier than it actually is. And part of me is a little confused by that. Like, why is it getting so much harder to develop games the further we get? And why? Shouldn't it be getting easier? I think it is easier to develop games that are not cutting edge. You know what I mean? Like something that leans on an older art style, an older gameplay style. Like a lot of indie titles tend to make games that are reminiscent of retro games from the NES, SNES days. And those are a lot easier to develop because back in the day, those took huge teams, many hours to put together. And now small indie teams can put together a similar and better type project, you know?
Yeah. Plus, games just keep getting more and more complex. Seems like there's always more and more added to what you can do.
Yeah. And this other part of the interview that I thought was interesting was that they would love to port their port of Twilight Princess HD, but they have not been approached yet. Which
So
means
sounds like
my theory
it's not happening. At
which
least not
means
yet.
my theory that it's done and they're just sitting on their shelf might be wrong. Or they could have given it to a different studio.
Seems weird though.
Yeah, why not have the same guys do it again? I don't know. Or maybe Tantalus is just lying and it is done. Like, oh, we haven't been approached
You're just
yet.
gonna straight up call them liars now.
Nintendo's done it before. Andrew Garfield testified on many occasions that he was not in the new Spider-Man movie. That man was a liar.
Wasn't.
He's a big old liar. So who knows? I mean, he could be under something like that and being asked a direct question. He's just like, no, we haven't been approached yet.
Who knows?
I'm stirring the
Theoretically,
pot
he
here.
might be under contract. So you
I
can't
want
say
to
anything about
believe.
it, but
I want to believe it's real. Also, whoa, spoilers in chat. Yeah, I guess maybe I shouldn't be spoiling Spider-Man. It's been out a few months.
yeah, I mean,
If
it's been out for a while, hasn't it? I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
it's been a while. I mean, I wouldn't have said what you said, but I can understand.
Well, let's just move on to the next news item. Go ahead, Micah. Our favorite game. Oh, you get a long. This is a long quote here.
Excuse me. I read that last one. You're trying to make me read the long one?
Okay, I'll read it. Yeah, it is me. Reggie on F-Zero. Why was F-Zero abandoned? The insight I would share is that, at least during my tenure, Nintendo developers were always experimenting with different gameplay styles, always thinking about where a unique experience could be applied back, either to an existing franchise or maybe creating a new franchise. My bet is that somewhere in the Kyoto development centers, some developer is playing around with an idea that might be applied to F-Zero. It's never a situation, at least in my experience, where the company makes a conscious decision not to continue supporting XYZ franchise. Historically, it just hasn't worked that way. Not when I was there. It's a quote by Reggie. Did a good job doing his cadence. I can't quite hit his voice, but this is interesting, and it makes 100% sense to me. Like this seems to be how Nintendo does it. They seem to develop around game design ideas, and they fit IPs into that idea, or they make a new IP that fits in that idea. In the case of ARMS, they could have used existing IPs, but it didn't really fit, so they made a new one. Splatoon, there wasn't really an existing IP that would work for that, so they made a new one. They're always like trying to do something to innovate the gameplay, and then they build around that. I think with the exception of Mario and Zelda, like those ones are getting just those are going to get a new entry in the series.
Yeah,
But
no matter
all
what.
their
But they do like
other,
to add in little twists.
yeah, right. Even those are going to be following like vastly different things. I mean, just look where we go from Mario Bros to Mario Bros 2, which is a completely different game, and Mario Bros 3, which is more like the first game, and but better, and Super Mario World, which I guess is sort of similar, but then it jumps to Mario 64.
Yeah, especially
And
their 3D games.
oh gosh, a huge bug just flying. It scared me real bad. Oh man.
Like Mario 64, and then to one of the greatest Mario games ever made, Mario Sunshine. They give you the flood.
Right. Minus the greatest game ever made. That's
Are
that's the
you
worst 3D
a
Mario.
psychopath?
You need to play it again. I think to then you can bash me and my opinion that it's not that great, because I played it recently and I didn't like it.
Yeah, but you don't
Anyways.
like a lot of good games. Or you like a lot of maybe not so good games.
Living true to the contrasting opinion review that left by JDP Kart. Thank you for that 5-star review, by the way. Yeah, Mario 64 to Sunshine is totally different. And then Sunshine to Galaxy is like such a change.
Yeah, then they throw in weird gravity planet stuff.
And go to like a really linear level design versus what they traditionally have. And so, each iteration of the series does drastically change. But for everything else, it seems like they're coming up with cool ideas, and then they're like, let's fit this IP to it.
Yeah.
Seems to be. I don't know if that's exactly how it goes, but it's unlike a lot of other development companies, which IP is always going to take the lead. Gameplay and mechanics is up there as an equal factor in the decision making for making a new game at Nintendo, and that's something that is commendable about the company. I think they're not just going to pump out sequel after sequel. They want to have a unique spin to it. But let me tell you, there's a lot of unique spins you could take with F-Zero. open world, GTA in space,
Tea time?
tea
Dating?
time, dating sim, F-Zero dating,
While you're driving?
speed dating, F-Zero
Yeah.
speed dating. Let's go. But what Reggie is saying here makes sense to me. That's what you could insinuate that this is what is happening behind the scenes. I do like that he's like, it's not dead.
I don't know. It seems kind of dead.
He seems to think it's alive, very much alive. So
I mean, all he said was not dead.
yeah, that someone's
This
probably
is mostly dead.
Something. It's a Princess Bride reference there. Turns out he's only mostly dead. Yeah, and then, I mean, let's be honest here, Micah. How many people would buy F-Zero if it came out?
I mean,
more
at
than
least
one.
10.
Yeah. I don't know if it's as big of a franchise as some people think it should be.
Probably not.
It's probably not even like.
I mean, it might be less than Metroid Prime. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, everybody. What they should
its
do
fans
is
are very loyal.
It's true. I think
But
that they
aren't
should
that many of
just
them?
accept their fate and put Captain Falcon in Mario Kart as Captain Falcon, not a cartoony version of him, just him.
Apparently, F-Zero Climax on the Game Boy Advance, which I've never even heard of, has sold 0.005 million copies. That might be one of the reasons why they haven't made a new one in a while.
I'm sorry, F-Zero fans, but we did the tier list. F-Zero as Nintendo. Nintendo puts them at the bottom. F tier for F-Zero.
Apparently, fans also put F-Zero at the bottom. Looking at these sales, it's not very good.
Yeah. Next bit of news.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund has purchased a 5.01% stock at Nintendo, making them the 5th largest shareholders at Nintendo.
Dang.
Which seems weird. I don't know why, but it just does. But apparently that adds to a list of game companies they have invested in, and they have more than 5% stake in Capcom, Nexon Co., and supposedly they even have 37.9 million shares in Activision Blizzard.
So they're investing in a lot of game companies. There's a quote here from Hideki Yasuda of Toyo Securities. I don't know exactly.
Sounds about right.
But it says Saudi Arabia has been beefing up efforts to create its own content industry, and this series of investments in Japanese game companies is likely a way for them to learn from Japan. So this is them trying to help get their country in the content creation space more effectively. So we'll see. This seems. I don't like the consolidation of the industry, like people buying, like big groups coming in and buying things and whatnot. But this is just buying a share in Nintendo, and while they are the 5th largest of the shareholders, it's not like an individual. It's an organization. The Public Investment Fund for Saudi Arabia. Gosh, this bug
is that bug back?
Yeah, it just keeps landing on my arm. Got it.
You murdered it?
I smacked it. Sorry, everybody. Sorry you had to see that. Me jumping like 10 feet in the air in the video. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Is like I don't like it, but I guess it's inevitable.
Yeah. As long as Nintendo has the most shares, I guess I'm okay with it.
Yeah. The next news item here. Starting on May 23rd, Pokemon Go's in-game shop will no longer include remote raid passes in weekly Pokecoin event boxes. So you could get these remote raid pass things that let you do raids from wherever.
remotely.
It's pretty nice during pandemic because a lot of people couldn't go out and travel, and they tried to take it away previously. Do you remember reporting on this a while back?
Yeah, people like, whoa, what's
The
wrong with y'all?
outrage was like, no. And so now they're trying again. They're like, oh, it's been long enough. Now we can make people go out and walk again. Niantic says, is quoted as saying, it's excited to get back to playing together in person, and that it's working on ways to support players who have difficulty reaching gyms with solutions such as tools for community leaders to organize local events and faster approval for new gyms.
They just need to make it easier to beat gyms in raids, at least.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's all nice for those people living in cities, but all these people living out in the boonies, and there's like 3 Pokemon Go players in like the town.
Yeah, seriously.
So then they have all these like high tier raids that you can't actually really participate in because there aren't enough people. I mean, I guess, or you could just like make friends that also play the game. That just sounds terrible.
Yeah. Who wants to do that? Who wants to socialize and go out and walk and stuff?
For real.
Oh,
It's gross. But no, I think Niantic has done like a really good job of adapting to not to going outside and whatnot. They've given away lots of free things to make it easier for people to stay inside essentially and play the game.
Yeah, and I think I personally think that they should just keep up with a lot of this stuff, at least have options for it. But I mean, they're trying to kind of get back to where they were.
I mean, they've been doing this for like 2 years now.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
Yeah. That's it for news. That's all we got to talk about in the news corner, the Nintendo news segment. So let's go to the next segment of our show and check on our little buddies, the rumor collecting Pikmin, who hang out at the rumor mill. And holy moly, they brought us some cool stuff this week. Micah, hope you're excited. We're about to talk about your favorites ongoing series. Skyrim, the anniversary edition, got a rating for Switch in Taiwan. Will it be coming to the Nintendo Switch?
How is this even legal at this point? I don't understand. I'm trying to look up
what
see
cracks
how many
me up
versions.
Is if this is real, that will be 2 re-releases of Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch. This game came out in 2012. It's 10 years old.
And it feels older, not gonna lie.
It's been re-released like 10 times.
It's been released like every year, apparently.
But here's the thing, is when Bethesda doesn't have anything else to show, they could always show Skyrim again. They're like, this time we added a fishing minigame, so there's that.
To be fair, that's pretty cool. But they didn't even do the work. It was like some mod off of like Steam or something, wasn't it? That they just no, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'd be excited for this, I guess. Would it upgrade the existing version, or?
I think you'd have to buy it.
You'd have to buy it again, and it's just a new game of Skyrim?
Yes.
The graphical quality has increased. It's like, okay. I think I like Skyrim a lot. I really enjoyed my playthrough of it on Switch. So I'd be down for trying the anniversary edition, I guess. But it doesn't need to exist. Doesn't need to come out. Resources could be spent somewhere else.
Like the next one. Just
Yeah.
make the new game. I just like we're talking about I mean it's not really porting, they're just creating fancier versions, but if porting isn't as easy as we thought, maybe creating these fancier versions aren't as easy as we thought, and they could have made like 3 new games instead of 6 re-releases of Skyrim.
These ports have been taking like 2 years apiece. Like, oh, that would be terrible. Yeah. That's that rumor. I don't know if this could just be like a rating error. Taiwan
One can
seems to
hope.
get those a
I
lot.
don't actually have anything against Skyrim, but I would just much prefer if they made a new game.
I mean, they are making a new game, but
Yeah, we'll make it faster.
who did you spend? What
It's been
resources
10
did you
years.
spend
I mean,
to
this is
make this
longer than The
Skyrim?
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but to be fair, they didn't announce it 10 years ago. So Skyrim could have been the end. I mean, with how many times they re-released it, it probably should be the end. They're like, it's done. We're not doing any more Elder Scrolls, but whatever. It'll be cool. It'll be cool.
I'm pretty sure they announced it a fair while ago, or at least mentioned they were going to, but
Elder Scrolls
I haven't
6?
really followed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe people just kind of assumed, especially with how popular Skyrim was.
The next rumor here, notable, I have it written down here, notable industry guy. And Last of the Nintendo Dogs host, Jeff Grubb, has been hearing rumblings that Nintendo may do lots of smaller presentations as opposed to one big summer E3 like direct. And this comes from Jeff Grubb himself talking on one of his podcasts about this. It's like, yeah, he can't confirm it, but he has been hearing rumblings. He is a prominent insider. Jeff, don't do this to us, all right? First off, this is not okay. We can't. I don't want Summer Game Fest Nintendo Edition, although that does sound pretty cool. I think I'd rather have just one direct.
Yeah.
Than lots of small presentations.
Just make it like 1 6-hour direct, because there's so much information about Metroid Prime 4 they want to tell us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not even that unreasonable for E3 for it to be like 6 hours. The 40-minute presentation and then like a huge treehouse.
Yeah, the treehouse.
I am down for that. That is, I think, what I would prefer if I get to pick, and clearly I do. It'd just also be weird for Nintendo to have been planning to do multiple presentations, because here's the thing: is like they're not planning the direct now. It's been in plans for a while and in production for a while. So it'd be weird that they were planning to not participate at E3 with an E3 direct. What are your thoughts? You think
unless they just kind of assumed E3 wasn't happening again?
Yeah, they're like, it's failing, so we're out. Do you think we'll get a regular Nintendo Direct in like the June time frame, which is in the next couple weeks, actually?
I mean, I'm going to say yes, mostly just because I want to will it into existence.
Yeah. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I really hope they're not doing this smaller presentations.
Yeah, it makes it difficult for you to find out all the useful information to tell me about.
Well, and the way Nintendo's dropping these directs, which is like, hey, by the way, tomorrow it's going to be like we were super late to the indie world because it was just, this is coming tomorrow. And it's like in the middle of the workday. It's just rough for people that want to watch it live, you know?
Yeah, but it's also nice because then we don't have to wait really long after knowing it's coming.
That's true. But it would be nice if you could like plan ahead a little bit. And E3 was that thing that you could plan. Okay, everybody's going to be around and able to do this. So I hope that they stick in that time slot with something. And I hope it's a longer direct and not a mini presentation. And they're like, by the way, we're going to have a bunch of these mini directs. They did direct minis for a little bit. Do you remember that? The Nintendo partner mini direct partner showcase, and it was like
Actually, don't remember that.
they were like 10 to 15 minutes a piece. This was middle pandemic time when we didn't have any real directs, so we got ones that showed like WWE greatest hits.
We were really excited for that one.
Our reactions to those are out on YouTube. If you've forgotten, you can go watch them. But it's I don't think that those were suitable replacements for directs. I would love to have those in addition to what we would already be getting from directs. But if we're picking one or the other, heck yeah, I want the direct, not the minis. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it for the rumor mill. Thank you, rumor mill Pikmin. I don't know what I was going to say there. I went through a lot of words in my head before landing on thank you. Thank you for all that you do in bringing us these delicious rumor fruits each and every week. And let's head over now to the community corner. Alrighty, we got some questions. First question comes from an Apple Podcast review by our good pal Parbrand. Asks, can you tell me the plots of every Uncharted game?
No.
I don't think so. I have not played any Uncharted games.
I have also not played any Uncharted games.
I know that they're looking for ancient artifacty type things. Isn't it one of them they're looking for the Fountain of Youth? And they find it, and there's like creepy otherworldly monsters stuff. It's very Indiana Jones like. They're always looking for something.
That made me think of Tomb Raider.
Yeah. I know that there's epic action sequences where he hangs out of a plane off of some boxes and stuff.
And a car falls out of a plane.
Yeah, parkouring through streets on epic chases. And
I believe in
that's
the first game they're like undead Nazis, kind of. And they're like looking for El Dorado or something.
Yeah. That's about as good as you're gonna get for our info.
Yeah, and I only kind of know that because I got the Uncharted movie from Redbox, and for their summary of the movie, they just had the summary of the first game, which isn't that accurate to the movie.
Did you watch the movie?
I did, yeah.
Well, how was the movie? You could at least tell us that.
I enjoyed it.
Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Pretty good.
Did he swing from some webs or anything?
Not from webs, but
ropes?
supposedly he did more wire work in Uncharted than he has done in Spider-Man.
Interesting. Maybe because they didn't want to hurt him in Spider-Man, but they didn't care in Uncharted.
Yeah,
like we have
Spider-Man. They're like, we're just gonna make a CGI you swinging through the air right here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, what happens in the movie? What's the plot of that? If you could give like a short synopsis that matches the movie instead of the game, which is hilarious that Redbox did that. That's pretty.
Yeah,
great.
someone just was like, "What's the plot of this?" I'm gonna Google it and just instantly took it from the game or something. I don't know, but they're just essentially trying to get all this gold. Not quite El Dorado. It's like pirate gold, essentially, kind of. I already forgot.
So the plot doesn't
matter
like that much.
It's like so like some explorer from Europe. Oh yeah, now I remember like the crew of the Magellan dude. I actually went out to find gold, and they found a bunch of gold. And Magellan actually died somewhere, so there's like these 17 of them, and they made a pact. They like left the gold somewhere, and they're gonna go back for it or something, and they didn't, and they all died. Because it was a long time ago.
And so then then Nathan Drake, right? That's the name of the main guy, is it teams up with
Sully,
And they're way younger than
Something's
they are
like-
in the games, right? Both of them. Are,
Yeah, it's like
significantly
their origin, like kind of the origin of their meeting. Because in the
Yeah.
first game, I believe they already like know each other at the start.
Yeah. And then they go team up to get this gold. Isn't Antonio Banderas in this movie?
He
Bad
is
guy?
indeed.
Yeah. He's a Zorro, Puss in Boots
yeah.
as well, which is just Zorro again.
Yeah, Zorro is a cat, essentially.
All right, there you go, Parbrand. I hope you liked that. Micah happened to have watched that movie this week. Next question comes from Presto asking over on Discord. If GBA Online does happen, what games would you want to come? Specifically Game Boy Advance. Not Game Boy or Game Boy Color. Which is good because I don't feel like I have a ton of Game Boy or Game Boy Color games that I'm like itching to play.
How dare you?
What do you want from GBA?
Golden Sun.
Yep. Schlimmtor took my answer in chat.
And Golden Sun 2.
Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Because I haven't actually played all those through.
Besides that,
it's been so long. I don't remember what games.
I'm trying to think through my catalog of because a lot of the Game Boy games that I had were remakes of old games. So like I have Mario Bros 3 for the GBA and Yoshi's Island. Is Yoshi's Island on the GBA? Might not be. I might be making that up. Super Mario World was though, and I have that for GBA.
Oh man, they have some Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. I've only played one of those, but I enjoyed it.
I'm not crazy about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I tried them multiple times. Didn't like them.
And you call yourself a Pokemon fan? I mean, there's some good Castlevania games.
What about Pokemon?
Who cares about Pokemon?
Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald.
Gross. I already got Pokemon Crystal on my Game Boy right here, and that's all.
Fire Red, actually, Fire Red and Leaf Green would be hype. That would be super cool. I'm trying to think, and while I'm trying to think, I'm looking it up. Minish
I'm
Cap.
looking at a list.
That's a fantastic one.
Oh,
Minish Cap
A Link to the Past.
Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. A Link to the Past. We already have that on SNES. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the GBA games are just like SNES games.
Do we have A Link to the Past?
Yes. On the SNES Online? A Link to the Past. Are you thinking of a different game than A Link to the Past?
I'm wondering if maybe I am.
You must be. I
mean, they also had I think A Link. The Game Boy Advance is where I first played A Link to the Past, so that's just
the WarioWare games, and then of course, Mother 3.
Oh.
But they're not going to put that on the GBA Online. That will be sold as its own separate thing, and they're going to charge money for that.
That's never going to be sold because it's never going to happen.
Right. But if they do, they're going to charge for it. Yeah. There's also some Fire Emblem games. Get those as well. And that's like really it for me on things that I would like to see.
I mean, I didn't hear you say Golden Sun.
I would like to see Golden Sun. You're right. How about the Mario and Luigi games?
The Superstars or
Advance Wars. Just kidding, we're getting that.
Well, maybe.
Or that remake. They wouldn't release that. That doesn't make sense. Like now you can play it here instead of paying for it when that comes out. But yeah, probably the biggest one for me is going to be Minish Cap. And then I would absolutely love to see Pokemon Emerald and or Fire Red Leaf Green. Oh, and Metroid Fusion. Yeah. And Zero Mission. Those ones. Just like those are like all big franchises.
All the famous Nintendo Game Boy Advance games are the ones we want, obviously.
Obviously. Let's move on to the next question. Presto asks another question. Mario Kart or Smash? There is a right answer here. I put that in parentheses. I'm going to let you go first.
Smash Bros.
All right. This is very hard for me to pick between these two.
This was a very easy decision for me.
I know for you. But I really like Mario Kart. And you know what? To keep with our contrasting theme, I'll pick Mario Kart. But I put so much time into all of Smash Bros.
You made the wrong decision. Wrong answer there.
I know I did. I want Smash Bros as well. Why can't we have both? Why do I have to pick one or the other? They're two of my favorite things Nintendo makes.
Well,
I don't know.
What would you choose between Mario Kart and Legend of Zelda?
Legend of Zelda. Yeah, there's no question there. I choose Zelda over everything.
Over everything?
Yeah.
Even
there
your
is no
family?
game series. No, not game series. Not over my family, no. Although my play hours might say otherwise.
Oh man, I mean, looking at chat, it seems like everyone is agreeing that I made the right decision.
Team Micah,
here.
wow. Maybe I should. The more I think about it, the more I'm like Smash Bros. Because I'm like looking back, I'm like, okay, so on the N64, if I get the choice between Mario Kart and Smash Bros. Smash Bros. On the GameCube, I'll pick Smash Bros. On the Wii, I'll pick Smash Bros. So why did I say Mario Kart? Because I love Mario Kart. But when it's pitted up against Smash Bros., I'm changing my answer. Smash Bros. That Smash Bros. Is what I pick.
Giving into peer pressure.
I'm giving into peer pressure. You've been trying to get me to do that ever since we started this show. So don't act like that's the wrong choice. But Mario Kart is still
Schlimter over here understands, saying Smash Bros. Is a lot less about luck than Mario Kart.
The truth comes out. Thanks so much for the question, Presto. It really made me question my inner self. I changed my mind here on the show. Let's just go to the next question. Sort of fits in line with this. Mute Dog asked on Discord. This wasn't necessarily for the podcast, but I thought it'd be an interesting one to talk about. I'm curious, what kind of games you guys play? What kind of games do you like to play, Micah? What would you say is your, like, staples?
Good ones.
I don't...
You don't like to play good ones?
I just don't know what... I don't like to play good ones. What types of good games do you like to play, Micah? What do you mean?
The best
good
of the
ones?
best.
What is the best of the best?
The most enjoyable to play.
Worst talking in circles I've met. You should be a lawyer. Or a witness to a crime.
I have heard that before. I would not make a good lawyer, though. Or better yet, I could just be the one committing the crime.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Or you could...
I figured I'd beat you to it.
So for me, I was thinking about this. What kind of games do I lean towards playing? I do dig like good party games. I like Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Wii Sports.
Yeah, the games that you play, not necessarily to try and win so much, they're just enjoyable to play with people.
But they can be played to win. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
Like,
I mean, obviously you're going to try to win.
Yeah. Obviously I'm going to win. Yeah. And then besides that, like I just play a little bit of everything. I've been really into the indie scene while I've been playing on Switch. A lot more indie games. And it'd probably be easier to talk about the genres I don't play too much.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of first-person shooter games. Any first-person shooter games. I played a bit of Halo with our friend group back in the day. Our buddy had an Xbox 360. We played a lot of Halo. I was
Yeah, but
terrible.
we'd always play the modes that involved like special modes that involved less shooting than normal.
Yes, yeah. We weren't playing the shooting version of Halo. We were playing like Warthog racing and zombie stuff with swords. It's good times. So yeah, I just don't play a lot of first person shooters. The most into a shooter game I ever got was Fortnite, and it's my most played game probably, Fortnite. But it's third person, and I don't know, but that just makes it different. I hate playing first person shooters by comparison.
You can just see so much more in third person, kind of.
I don't know. I just like to look at the back of my character's head. I feel comforted not being the person in the
Oh
experience.
man, they should add, slightly spoiler their Professor Quirrell skin to Fortnite so you can look
They
at
have that.
Voldemort on the back of his head.
Harry Potter and Fortnite would be hilarious and awesome.
I mean, it works so well. His wand, Expelliarmus, it makes your opponent drop their weapon they're holding.
Wasn't there like a video we watched back in the day where Harry does give Ron a gun? He's like, "Oh, honestly, Ron, just pull the trigger."
Yeah, they gave him a bazooka, I think, and he says something about like rocket explodicus or something.
Yeah. I don't even remember what the video is. I just remember quoting
just
that
Harry
back
Potter with guns. Yeah.
So I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, and I honestly don't play a ton of turn-based RPGs, and that's not because I don't like them. I just haven't. I was not exposed to them as a youth, other than Pokemon. So I did play a lot of Pokemon. I played like every generation of Pokemon, sometimes multiple games in the same generation of Pokemon. But I didn't play any Final Fantasy. I didn't play any Golden Sun.
Thousand Year Door.
Oh yeah, I guess that's an RPG.
Mario
sort
and
of.
Luigi.
I don't know if Paper Mario's like as strictly an RPG because you got the action system.
It's still an RPG.
I mean, it is still an RPG, but it's not
It's
like
an RPG plus.
Yeah.
It's an RPG and more.
Yeah, what is an RPG? We're not getting into that here. A lot of shock in chat that I've never played Final Fantasy. Yeah. Listen, they left Nintendo, and I said
you prematurely left them.
I left them. Yeah. I mean, I started on Super Nintendo, so I should have, but I don't know. My family was just never bought the games.
Some people, man.
Listen, they left Nintendo, and I was part of the divorce. I went with the mom, which was Nintendo, and I guess some people went with dad over to PlayStation. And see where they're at now. What games are coming out for PlayStation today? Nothing. I'm just kidding. That's terrible. Again, it's not because I don't like them. It's just I never played them and don't have experience with them. So I'll have to give some of them a try at some point. What I would really like to try is Chrono Trigger.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention Chrono Trigger as an RPG.
Yeah.
Because that one's also so good.
And in chat here, Slimter says, Andros lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes only Nintendo. It's true. It's true. But that being said, Final Fantasy was on Nintendo up until the N64. So I should have at least played those. But I didn't. So I don't know. I'm like trying to I don't have my library on me, but there aren't even like RPGs on the N64. There's like nothing. The one I had was
Paper Mario.
Well, yeah, Paper Mario. But that's again, I don't look at Paper Mario and think like, oh yeah, that's like a Final Fantasy like RPG. It's not that like traditional turn-based
Final
RPG.
Fantasy like, but it is a turn-based.
And I didn't play Mario RPG either. For shame. Wow. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, I feel like I used to play a lot more puzzle games back in the day, but as I've gotten older, I've decided I don't like thinking as much as I used to.
Well, I could have
At
told
least
you that.
not. I get like sometimes these like puzzles we have to like, especially like slide puzzles where you're supposed to like figure things out, and I'm just like, I'm gonna spam every direction. I'm just gonna start spamming things, and I hope it helps. And that's how I solve puzzles nowadays.
See, maybe opposite for me. I would say I wasn't super good at puzzle games as a kid because I couldn't think very good. and nowadays I really enjoy good puzzle games. Yeah, I
I
have
mean,
a lot. I have a
it kind of
lot of
depends on the puzzle, I guess. Then that it's such a broad genre of games, like Untitled Goose Game. That's kind of a puzzle game. We were trying to figure things out. I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, I kind of lean a little more towards more fast paced, quick reaction games.
action.
Yeah, that's where
Mm.
I mean, it's not necessarily so much I want to shoot all these people, but a lot of those kinds of games force you to make decisions very quick, and you also have to have some nice motor controls and precision. But I tend to not like playing shooters too much online against other people because then I lose a lot, and that's not fun.
Yeah, yeah. I like I like pretty much everything except for maybe the first person shooter genre. And then I also tend to avoid graphic games. Maybe by that is like over the top violence or
Oh yeah,
non-family friendly content. I'll avoid that. I'm not interested in that.
yeah. I'll say Doom is easily like the most violent game I've ever played, and
Yeah,
I
I've never
actually did
played Doom.
really enjoy those, but
I
I
have
didn't
no
enjoy it
interest in
because of
playing
that.
Doom. Yeah, I have no interest in playing Doom. It's a first person shooter and it's incredibly violent. It's like not for me. That's not my
You just
game.
close your eyes for
And
those
neither
parts.
both of us don't like scary games, so
Oh yeah, for sure.
we don't play any games like that. But so that's what we don't play. But like if we had to hone in on like what our favorite kinds of games to play are, you're talking
Yeah, I don't
responsive,
know. I mean,
fast
like,
paced games.
that can like also be like platformers as well. Not, I mean, I kind of made it sound like I really like to play shooters, but
Yeah, but
I also
platforming.
it's like roguelike games, if
Yeah,
done right,
roguelike.
I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy.
Both of us are in that genre. We like a lot of the same types of games. Roguelikes. I mean, both of us were really into Hades. Definitely Spelunky and Spelunky 2.
Yeah.
And Enter the Gungeon. It's another one.
Oh yeah, that I think
Uh,
has just as much time as Breath of the Wild for me.
and then Risk of Rain and Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah, I really like Risk of Rain. It's like a third person shooter, but it's like an ability shooter. It's not necessarily so much about how good you can shoot and how accurate you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you can adapt to situations and use your abilities in the best ways
Yeah.
and whatnot.
And then I will play pretty much anything if Mario is in it. You
Yeah.
put Mario in it, and I'll probably buy it. And Zelda, I'll probably pretty much buy and play anything and like it in both regards. So there's that. Mute Dog in chat saying that he just tried Spelunky for the first time, and it's epic. Agreed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
100% the first game, and I'm slowly working on doing that for the second game. I already have as many hours in the second game as I do in the first. It's super fun. I like that game. It's definitely hard. We play a lot of punishing games, Mike. I have noticed that,
Yeah.
especially as
I like
we've
to have that sense of accomplishment when I complete something.
well, especially as we've started our own podcast and we have a Nintendo Pals community, and we're like hyped for a game, and then other people get it, and then they're like, "Why do you guys like this? This is so hard." Like Spelunky 2. They're like, "What the heck? This game is so difficult." And we're like, "Yeah, I guess we play pretty hard games."
I mean, it also helps that we had like 60 hours of experience with the first Spelunky. Well,
Yeah,
I had
well,
about 60, maybe.
I had
Andros
like
had a little
100.
more than that, I think.
And then I also really like games that are essentially board games, tabletop games in video game form. So Slay the Spire, the deck building stuff, I like that a lot. Divinity Original Sin 2, which
Oh,
is essentially a like D&D translated into a video game. I mean, you play it like you play a board game, very much, at least in the fights.
yeah, the
And
fights are like XCOM style, kind of,
so
but with
that can
so
really
many
suck
different
me in
abilities.
because I just love board games. So yeah, there's that. If they kind of mix those spheres, and I enjoy good platformers. I really like all the 2D Mario and 3D Mario.
Yeah, I mean, I kind
Uh,
of said as a joke that I like good games, but I essentially like every genre of game as long as the game is good, except
d-
scary, essentially.
dating simulators. Have you played any dating simulators? You did play.
Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah, you did play
That game was
Boyfriend
very
Dungeon.
enjoyable, actually. That game was hilarious when you come across like the boyfriend weapons. The Some of those reveals were so funny. Granted, I just played like the demo, so I only played a little bit, but
Presto in chat says, usually if I stop playing a game, I just got so frustrated at it that I gave up. It wasn't worth my time. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm okay playing a game and going like, that wasn't for me. The bummer is when I spent a lot of money on it and then I'm not gonna play it. That's a bummer. But I'm okay to try just about anything. I take this philosophy with food as well. I'm like, I'll try just about anything, and sample it like I'm at a buffet. Test the different things, and I'll then gravitate towards the. I'll probably eat a lot more of the thing that I enjoy out of that sampling plate. I just devoured the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe when that came out, and really enjoyed it. It's very different than what I usually play. It's like super narrative and kind of puzzle solving game, but I really enjoyed that.
yeah, that kind of reminds me. I kind of feel bad when I play like Forbidden West and people are like talking and I read the subtitles so much faster than they talk and I just like skip through. So they have these like voice actors doing like thousands of lines of dialogue and I'm hearing like the first fourth of everything they're saying in that sentence before I'm like skipping on. And sometimes in the back of my mind, I'm just like, it just makes me feel a little bad.
Monkey
But
Thunder
I
chat
like
says he
tend not
does
to
the
like narrative
exact
things
same
too
thing.
much. Oh, right on.
I don't do that. If there's a voice actor, I like to listen to the whole
I mean,
voice acting
it's
part.
so long sometimes though,
Yeah,
and they talk
Forbidden
so
West has
much.
way a lot of talking, like
I mean, and I
so
like all
much.
the information, and I like the dialogue and whatnot, but and some of the delivery is good. There's actually a couple characters I will usually listen to like what they say, just because I really like the delivery. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just sometimes it's like I just want to get back into the action. I don't necessarily want to listen to them talk for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I haven't really had this experience yet because, I'm a Nintendo only player and they just don't do voice acting on anything. But Monkey Thunder does point out that they did in Fire Emblem. Here's the thing, Micah. How come we have never played Fire Emblem? Neither of us.
Maybe it's just they aren't that good. I mean,
I mean, but aren't they not that good? We haven't tried them.
technically they might not be that good.
I'm
We
keeping
don't
my
know.
eye out. I'm keeping my eye out for Fire Emblem Three Houses. See if I can pick it up on a good sale. It doesn't draw me in, and not being involved in the series already. It's hard. Here, okay. I'm seeing some shock in the chat. Here, it's hard to start a new series partway through, especially when they are such a time commitment. Like if I had unlimited time, I would definitely have already tried Xenoblade Chronicles and Fire Emblem, but I just really don't, and it doesn't fit my buffet gaming style to automatically go and just take this huge ham and fill my whole plate with that one thing because I don't have room for all that other stuff, you know? My style is more
But what more
get a
do you need than
slice,
ham?
get a slice of ham, and if I like it, I'll dive into it. But I haven't done that because it's just so intimidating. It's this big thing. I like the food analogy here. It makes sense. Yeah. Monkey Thunder in chat says it is a huge time commitment. The first route. And if you want to see everything, you got to play 3, maybe 4. Maybe there's a fourth, like everything works together route. The first one took 60 to 70 hours. Like times 4. It's like that's what it's such a turnoff for that reason. I know people love that, like, I want to get as many hours out of this game as possible. And I turn around and put that much time into Spelunky
And Breath of
or
the Wild.
Zelda. Yeah. So it's funny.
Or Divinity. Divinity
Again,
is actually such a good game, though. Divinity 2.
Why did we buy that? Why did we get that originally?
Because we wanted that kind of style of game. We were thinking of either that or Diablo. Or Diablo
That's
3.
right. Or Diablo 3.
We wanted some kind of game where we could
also
play
launched
together like that.
Mm-hmm. And I am so glad we went Divinity over Diablo.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Seeing Diablo's gameplay, we would not have put as much time into that. There's just something so satisfying about building a character up and building and so good. Yeah. New Dog in chat says, well, you got family as well, so you got time. Your time gets a little pulled around. Yeah, but Micah has no excuse. He doesn't have kids that he has to take care of. He could be playing Fire Emblem all day.
I'm broke.
Yeah. Send your copy of Fire Emblem 3 Houses to
if I just
address.
happen to have a copy of Fire Emblem, I would play it.
Oh boy. I like this. This was a fun discussion, fun question to dive into. I love weird stuff. Can I emphasize, like, I like Nintendo's weird things. To the side here right now, I've got a copy of Mario Paint for the SNES. Like, what a weird title. Photo Dojo, developed by Nintendo. Love that. The WarioWare games are super fun in that way. I just like this, like Ring Fit. Ring Fit was like, oh yeah, I'm all over that. I'll buy that day one. So I don't know. I have eclectic tastes, I'd say. That's a nice way to say my tastes are bad. And then Micah,
you
Micah
said it,
is,
not me.
Micah is into the RPGs, but I think you're in the same boat as me, where it's like, in our current state of life, the time commitment and upfront investment's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you have another reason. Why are you avoiding playing Xenoblade? That's what people want to know. First off, if you haven't joined our Discord yet, if you're a fan of Xenoblade, join our Discord. I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you're a fan of Xenoblade, because we don't talk about it enough. But we're going to.
Whenever we do, it's just to say we haven't played it.
Yeah, I am actually very interested in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm based off of how much our community loves the series. I'm like, maybe I'll just do it. It's time. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and get in on 3. Maybe it's time, Micah.
Could be.
It
could be time.
Stick around to find out. And then we'll just do that again for 4. Like, stick around. Maybe we'll play 4.
If we reach 1,000 followers, we'll get Xenoblade 3.
You heard him. You heard it, everybody.
By we, I mean Andros. I make no such commitment.
1,000 followers. Micah will play Xenoblade.
Only if you buy it and then send it to me after you beat it.
We'll see what we do. If we get 1,000 followers, sure, I'll get you Xenoblade. I'll get it for you. All right. Presto's even committed. Like, if you get it, maybe I'll get it too. Listen, this is the effect we have. If you do it, I'll do it. Alrighty. Next question here, Micah. This one comes from Andros, which is me. I asked this question in the community corner because I was interested, and I'm interested to hear your answer to this. who are some of your favorite content creators to watch / listen to? Just in general. I mean, it doesn't have to be Nintendo specific.
Well, funny about that. This is gonna make me sound like a bad content creator, but I don't really listen to any content creation. I don't even listen to our content creation.
I mean, that's fair. Not a lot of people listen to their own show because they're in it. But
But
YouTubers, podcasts, nothing.
No, I used to just always let you tell me the funny YouTube videos and interesting YouTube videos to watch, and you haven't done that in a while.
I don't do that anymore. I let you become your own person.
Although every time we raid someone, I usually end up watching or listening for about 15 minutes, sometimes longer. I watched someone play I forgot who we raided. Play the Tiny Tina's Wonderland. The spin-off of Borderlands.
That's Seth.
Seth, yeah. That was entertaining. And there's some crazy stuff that happened with an ocean. But then I was interested in listening to more of that one, but that's actually a game I plan on playing in like a year when it's on sale and all the DLC is out.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
When it comes to not Nintendo games, I'm very patient and I always wait for a sale. Plus, especially if they're games that are going to have DLC, I don't want to buy the game and then have to buy the DLC.
You'd see the chat. I like these guys called the Nintendo Pals. They're pretty cool, I guess. So I think I've heard of them. Y'all are too kind. Thank you. So wait, you don't. What do you watch anything? You watch a lot of shows more than I do, like regular TV.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like.
So sub that, I guess, since you're not watching like a content creator.
Just finished watching Atlantis on BBC.
Oh, I thought you meant like the animated movie. I was like, oh, all right.
Pretty entertaining.
What a movie.
Sometimes it wasn't meant to be entertaining, and it was. But other times it was actually meant to be entertaining, and it also was. I watch lots of random things. Usually when I'm doing other things. But I recently haven't actually watched that many things since I got a Eli's PS4 here. So I've recently played through Elden Ring.
PlayStation Pals podcast coming soon.
Recently played through Horizon Zero Dawn, Elden Ring, and BioShock 1 and 2. So I've put like 200 hours into those like 4 games in the past while. But I haven't watched too much.
Well, I'll go through what I watch because I consume content like a madman. Especially when it comes to Nintendo podcasts and just podcasts, I listen to quite a bit myself. So the first podcast I started listening to was the Nintendo Dads, which is a fantastic show, awesome people, and definitely check out the Nintendo Dads. I discovered them just by searching Nintendo podcasts and saw Nintendo Dads. I was like, hey, that's me. I'm a dad that likes Nintendo. And so listened to that show, and through that show discovered lots of our buddies in the content creation space that also do podcasts. Sean Capri, All In, we discovered them. Our buddy Dan was not doing Retro Logic at the time. He was doing another show and then started Retro Logic. And he was doing another show with the guys that eventually became Game Pass News. So let me list off the shows that so then I just started to go, oh, there's a lot that I could be listening to. And I listen to podcasts a lot while doing other things. And it's like a way to pass the time, especially in the work from home era. One of my favorites right now is the Nintendo Cartridge Society with Patrick and Mark. We've had them on the show here. They're a fantastic show. They're a really great one to listen to. I also listen to All In, I already mentioned. Listen to them every week. Listen to the Nintendo Dads every week. Listen to the Nintendo Drive. And recently started listening to Talk Nintendo Pod and Nintendo Express. Yeah, they're all great shows. A lot of people go like, "Well, how could you just listen to only Nintendo all the time?" Because they do cover a lot of the same stuff, but it's just fun to hear different perspectives from different people, I guess. And then I actually do listen to our show, Micah. This is something I've started doing semi recently. I will go back and listen to our episode. Usually midweek, and part of it's like a quality control. I'll see if there's something I missed in the post edit, or like just make sure it all uploaded properly. But also part of it is because I am here in the conversation. Sometimes I miss things that you said or the guest said, and listening back to it because I'm like focused on, okay, this is the next part we're going to talk about, or I'll be looking at the notes. I might miss bits and pieces here and there. Like there are several times where I have completely glossed over some of the funniest things Mike has ever said on this show, and I didn't realize it until I'm listening back, and I'm like, oh dang, that was hilarious. And I've just gotten more comfortable being able to listen to my own voice, which is just something that developed because I edit the podcast every week. Yeah, I like it. I like our show. I listen to our show, so I like our show. I have a little bit of bias, but I think it's fun. Then, as far as YouTubers go, I'm probably missing some podcasts here. I don't have my list up on me. New show. Good grief. I can't forget this one. This is one of my favorite shows to listen to right now, and that is Barely a Gaming Podcast, hosted by our good buddy Eli Bear. I am very entertained by that show. Maybe because I'm really good friends with them in real life, but I just find the show hilarious, and it's interesting. They cover gaming in general, not just Nintendo. Games with Bill. That's another one I listen to, and yeah, that's what I'll highlight. There's a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and then when I run out, I just like start looking and finding new ones. Nintendo Fuse. So that's another one. We just had Barry on from Nintendo Fuse. Okay, YouTubers that I like to watch. I don't watch a whole lot of Nintendo YouTubers. I watch a lot of like speedrunner YouTubers. So Cosmic is fantastic content creator. I love his stuff. And then he for a while was on a speedrunning team that was run by NRG, the esports org. So they had a speedrunning team with him, Lil Curbs, Point Crow, and Easy Speezy. And then Easy Speezy left partway through. And then the three other guys continued on, and then Energy disbanded the team, which is a super bummer. I loved that channel because I like Point Crow's content as well. He's formerly a Breath of the Wild speedrunner. He still does speed runs, but like now he's just kind of he does everything. He does a lot of mods for Breath of the Wild and just playing lots of different games. Big streamer, I like his YouTube content. And Press of the Magnificent Chat says I've watched a lot of Small Ant. Same. So him and Crow run in the same circles. I watch a lot of that stuff. Really like their current Mario Odyssey hide and seek stuff they're doing. That's really cool. It makes me a little jealous. I wish I could play some Mario Odyssey hide and seek. It looks very fun. And that's probably it on the Nintendo side. I also watch quite a bit of beat 'em ups by Woodhawker, I think is his name. Wood. And his stuff to me is hit or miss on the video, but he is very entertaining, if that makes any sense. Like some of the videos I don't find as entertaining as others, but always find him entertaining. And then a lot of the videos are really good. And then I also recently discovered M&J TV. He's a PokeTuber, and I really like his channel a lot, his energy, and all the stuff he makes. It's very interesting videos, all on Pokemon stuff. So yeah, that's a cool channel.
So you just watch enough for both of us.
I mean, it sounds like a lot, but a lot of these guys are only posting like once a week, like a 10-minute video. So it equates to like an hour of videos. If we talk like just general YouTubers, my wife and I always watch Ryan George, the guy that does pitch meetings. And he also has his own channel on the side. Every week we watch that stuff. And that's it for things that we watch together. Yeah. And then she'll occasionally sit in for beat 'em ups video if I'm watching that. I don't watch every single one of these guys' videos, except for some.
You don't watch all of them, except for some of them.
Yeah. I watch a lot of stuff, I guess. Yeah. I would say it's like hit or miss on how much I watch of each of them, because I haven't seen every Small Ant thing or every Point Crow thing. I've seen a lot of Cosmic stuff. That's because like kind of know Cosmic, having had him on the show, and I'm active in their community over there, and he's just a cool guy. So I like supporting his stuff for that reason. Yeah, so if you're looking for content creators to check out, hey, we have some more people in chat here. A lot of cosmic community members that have come over to hang out, because I've been a regular over there. Thank you for that. But yeah, if you're looking for, I was like lost my train of thought there. If you're looking for a content creator to watch, look no further. Nintendo Pals has a YouTube channel. We have a podcast and all sorts of social medias and video stuffs. It's fun. I like making stuff, and that's probably where most of my time goes, and why I don't watch more of other things, and probably also why Micah doesn't watch more of other things. He's like, I live it.
Are there even more other Nintendo things you could watch?
Yes. There's a ton of Nintendo YouTubers and podcasts. I actually, there are some casts that I don't listen to, like specifically. I'm not going to call them out because I don't want to get biased towards any, but the ones where I just stopped listening to because I didn't really dig the vibe. You know, it's like, this isn't speaking to me. Maybe they were not as family friendly, and that's just not my thing. Or they were very negative. There's a lot of negativity in the Nintendo content space. So yeah, just try to avoid the bad vibes. Anyways, thanks so much for the question, Micah. I'm a little shocked. I really thought you would have like people you watch or things you check out. But I guess you just kind of.
I feel like I kind of used to, but I like slowly stopped doing that over the last long time.
Yeah. Where are you seeing all these videos that you sent me, though? Like, you sent me these like clips, like the one of the dude goes, "Go on, my brothers," and then the monster runs into the elevator as he's trying to close it.
Trying to like fight it. Yeah, starts closing the elevator to hold the monster off, and the monster just runs right past him into the elevator as it closes. It's the funniest clip I've ever seen in my life.
Where are you?
That was just something random I saw on Facebook.
Okay, so you're just seeing random Facebook stuff.
Yeah,
I don't see anything on Facebook. I don't use Facebook like at all. But fun times here in the Nintendo content creation space. Well, that's it for the community corner. Michael, what do you say we move to the last segment of our show, and let's talk the PAL topic, which I pretty sure I have a bumper for. Yeah, it's right here. I really like this bumper. It's like it's longer than all the other ones, so I start talking partway through it, but it's just so catchy. Ace Trainer theme from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, for those that are curious. Okay, Micah. We have compiled a list. I'm telling you that you and I have compiled a list of the top 5 Wii U games that still need to be ported to the Nintendo Switch. Yes, there are some left. And yes,
it was
we
difficult
think
to find, but we found 5 of them.
We think that there are some that should be ported still. For all 10 of you that already got these games on the Wii U, we apologize. You know, we know. We're one of you. But some of these games would be pretty good.
We are one of you. You just got your Wii U like 3 months ago when it was a gift.
It's not 3 months ago.
You're not
like
one of the originals.
Years ago.
It hasn't been 2 years.
It definitely was a birthday present for my son. At least it was not this last birthday, but the birthday before. So
I don't know about that. I think you're confusing yourself.
I don't think so. All right. Well, let's get to this list. Starting with number 5. What's your number 5, Micah?
I don't. I mean, lots of things wouldn't work very well in it, but Zombie U. I really enjoyed the multiplayer where the one person was like the zombie lord or whatever, like placed zombies to try and get the other player.
That's a good one, and wasn't on the list that we were going off of.
It was not.
You had that one stored. You were like, I'm not telling Andros about that. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I got that game, and I made it not very far into that game because way too scary.
But the multiplayer is really fun, and the single player is really fun too if you can get past the way too scary.
Yeah, it was quite scary, but they did a lot of cool things, like you're checking your inventory, your backpack, instead of pausing the game and rearranging on the TV, you have to rearrange on the gamepad, looking away from the TV, so zombies can still get you. I'm pretty sure there's certain things when like you have to like pick locks and doors or something.
Yeah, Monkey Thunder is giving the exact same. Like this was a very cool mechanic in chat while you're giving.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
See, I mean, they embraced the gamepad and made very good and unique gameplay mechanics added into their games.
That's why it was such a good launch title, honestly.
Yeah, and it did not sell nearly as well as it deserved to.
That's true.
I mean, it wouldn't work quite the same on the Switch, but I think it just deserves to be ported just because of that.
My number 5 is going to be Pushmo World. The Pushmo series is puzzle games where you push and pull platforms to get to the goal. And I haven't actually played much of Pushmo beyond. I think I had the first game, and I would love to play Pushmo World. So let's bring it over. That's my answer. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard. I decided to count them as one game.
Interesting choice. I don't think anybody else wants those.
Excuse me, I see in chat here Schlimtor Star Fox Zero. So at least 2 of us want it.
Yeah. All right.
That's 2 more than what you said. But I feel like Star Fox Guard, just take it a little further, whatever, and make it online. Make it so one person is placing the bad guys through the maze, and the other person is like placing the cameras and trying to shoot them and whatnot. I think that could have some really fun multiplayer mechanics.
Yeah. And Star Fox Zero might be a good I don't know if that's what I think I'd much rather have a sequel than just have a straight port. But Star Fox Guard, I think is a good one. That would be fun.
You wouldn't rather just have a sequel of Star Fox Guard as well?
Yeah, I would also rather have a sequel of that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about games to be ported. And if we're only going to get a port, Star Fox Zero is all we get, sure. I'll accept it.
Have you played Star Fox Zero?
Yeah. I played it
all the way through, or just like tried it essentially?
not all the way through, but I played a good amount. I played up and beyond the first boss. And I played it with you at some point.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I feel like we had to have at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a long time ago. That was like back when it first launched, I think. My number 4 is the NES Remix Pack, which I didn't realize was a Wii U game, but apparently it is. And it's, I want to say, like the best of NES Remix 1 and 2, which is a lot of classic NES games that mix things up. And I never played it, and I want to try it. So I think that
Yeah.
would be a good one. And I would love this series to get revitalized again. Let's get an NES remix.
Yeah, I just added
Game
on
Boy remix.
into the expansion pass or the
Mhm.
NSO.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, my number 3, you knew I had to have it on here. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
I have that on my list as well.
Oh, nice. The only
It's
reason
my
it's
number
not higher
2.
is because I've played it multiple times, and I just played it like a few months ago.
My number my number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Interesting.
I think that it makes sense to put Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Switch because then the entire series will be available on one system.
Yeah, and it'd be a good way to get some hype for Xenoblade 3.
I don't think that
like
makes
too
sense
short
at this point. Yeah.
now. Yeah. There's
Maybe
not
a
enough
year
time.
ago. Maybe a year ago that would have been cool. But Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's a mech game too, which I haven't really played too many mech games. It looks interesting. Looks cool. I haven't heard anything negative about it. It doesn't really play like a Xenoblade game, but it's there. And it's supposedly like not canon in the story, but it kind of could be.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out with Xenoblade 3.
Spoilers for anybody that hasn't played it or knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's my number 3.
My number 2, and the only game on my list that I have not played on the Wii U, is also Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh, so we just swapped those around. Okay. Why do you want it on there? It was all the same reasons.
Well, yeah, pretty much. And I haven't played it. I've heard good things about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My number 2, I already said, is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I'll give some reasoning here for why I want this over. I just played this on the Wii U. I think it's a fantastic Zelda game, and it just needs to come forward. I am all for every Zelda game being on the Switch.
On the Switch,
like, let's do it. And I want more people to experience it that maybe missed out on it in the GameCube era. Like Skyward Sword had a whole bunch of people play for the very first time on the Switch and really liked it. I think Wind Waker would be all that and more, like, because
it's the second best Legend of Zelda game.
Between the two, Wind Waker is a better game than Skyward Sword, in my opinion. I think Wind Waker has a lot more going for it and it's just really good. It's a very good Zelda game. So I think that needs to come over.
I'd also say I think it's also the funniest Legend of Zelda game.
What? How? Why? I'm like
I can actually think of like but the first time you come across the Forsaken Fortress, and they're like,
where
"We got a plan." Well, it's like, "We got a plan," and you're just sitting there, and suddenly you're just inside a barrel, and it zooms out, and you're on a catapult.
Yeah, that's.
And your expressions as they're counting down.
Yeah,
you're like freaking out, and then you become at peace with it, and then right at like 1, you start freaking out again, and they just launch you.
There's some really good comedic moments.
The expressions in that game I think are really good.
Yeah. Number one. What is your number one, Micah?
What is your number one?
Is it the same as my number one?
Yeah, well, I hope so.
I'm gonna guess so.
On the count of 3.
It's not. Actually, now that I think about it. Go ahead. You give
What's
your
number one?
I'll give my number one first. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD.
Dare you? How dare you not even put my number one on your list?
I know what your number one is, and I don't believe it is possible to do.
That's so easy.
What are you talking about?
Everyone's like, this would be
Paper
so
Mario
difficult.
Color Splash,
so
not possible.
Easy.
Just kidding.
The graphics are too advanced for the Switch.
I think The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD would be so fun to have on the Switch. Mostly because it is like impossible to get cheap on the WiiU. It is so expensive. It is still full price, and if you want to get a physical, you're paying well above and beyond full price for it. And Twilight Princess is like probably my second favorite Zelda game ever. It's been a long time since I played it, so I don't feel like it's fair to judge it against other things I played because there's a lot of nostalgia, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
I used to have that feeling for Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, well, Twilight Princess was considered like the true successor to Ocarina of Time, and it feels very much like Ocarina of Time plus, like a way more
It's the
refined
same
story,
kind of dark.
Yeah, and similar-ish plots, I guess. The dungeons are so good in Twilight Princess. I mean, because your favorite Zelda with Wind Waker, there were a bunch of dungeons that got cut, and they ended up being in Twilight Princess.
Another reason why Wind Waker is the best.
Is that there?
It's the gift that keeps giving.
I guess so, but that's
in other words, your
so
favorite
many.
part of Twilight Princess are probably the Wind Waker dungeons.
Maybe, but we'll never know because they didn't disclose which ones were which. But that's why there are so many dungeons in Twilight Princess, is because they had a bunch of half-ready ones, and they're like, well, we'll just convert these to this darker aesthetic and then call it a day. And they're really fun. Like, that's probably the best like classic Zelda experience, classic 3D Zelda experience you can get. I'd say Wind Waker is a lot more experimental with like the open world. You know, it's not so focused on the dungeons, but the dungeons are pretty good, but not as good as Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess's dungeons are so like next level with everything that they do. Again, it needs to come to Switch so that I can prove this to you. So you can play it and then tell me I'm wrong over and over again on the podcast for the rest of forever, as I know you will do.
For sure.
But that's why this is number one for me. I really like this game. I love the aesthetic, the music. Oh, it's the best. I love this soundtrack. It's so good. I could go on. Twilight Princess is just so fun. It has its shortcomings. I'd say the wolf segments might be a little weak.
What? Those are the best parts.
There's some parts of it that are really good, but then there's other parts where you're like, I am still a wolf, and this is really dragging on. But other than that, and maybe the slowish intro, which I think every Zelda suffers from, with the exception of Breath of the Wild, and Wind Waker. Wind Waker had a pretty slow start as well.
What? They're like immediately throwing you into the ocean.
Sort of. Anyways, Twilight Princess. Why can't I talk about Zelda here without you coming in and raining on my parade?
You're the one that started mentioning Wind Waker again.
That is not true.
You opened the floodgates yourself.
Get out of here. I just want to enjoy another Zelda game. You get out of your stuck on Wind Waker attitude and tell us what your number one is.
It's just the best.
It was your number 3. It was your number 3. It was my number 2.
Well, it's my number 3 because I just played it, and I've played it multiple times.
I just played it sooner than you did.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you, though?
More
or did I play it again?
What's your number 1?
But you didn't get the full experience because, I mean, no offense, you played it on stream. You didn't have quite as much experience exploring because you wanted to keep things moving a little bit.
Probably.
Why don't you take a guess what my number 1 is? And just know if you're not right, I'm going to be very offended.
Nintendo Land.
Of course, Nintendo
The greatest
Land.
game on the Wii U.
Potentially the greatest game ever made.
This is up there. All right. I am absolutely not joking. I'm not being any sort of like Nintendo Land may be one of my favorite games of all time. It is up there with Breath of the Wild, with Super Mario World,
with Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Nintendo Land is up there. For Micah, it's up there with Wind Waker and Metroid Prime. Because, I mean, it has like a full Metroid game in it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason this isn't on my list, the reason this isn't on my list is because I do not believe a port of this will work. It is too reliant on the gamepad, way too reliant on the gamepad. I think it needs a full-blown sequel. We've talked about how put it with, like, you use 2 switches to do the asymmetric. Like, it's just too complicated. I don't think that Nintendo would put it
complicated. Well,
no, if you have to own 2 switches to make it work, that's not
for local.
That is not. Yeah,
how many switches do you have
online? I have enough to do it, but most people do not.
Yeah,
listen, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to say I don't love this game. I just don't think it's possible.
Most of the game modes you can play solo.
Yeah, but they still require the gamepad. Actually, you're wrong. You're wrong. Actually, you're right. I just knee-jerk reaction said, "Actually, you're wrong."
A lot of the modes can work. I mean, the Pikmin ones have 2 ways of doing. You can tap on the screen, I believe, or you can just throw. The Ninja Stars. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head that
requires
would
the
definitely
gamepad?
Be different. Yeah.
I
mean, they could relatively easily do pointing
because Mario hide and seek won't work.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion won't work. Animal Crossing Candy Collector, whatever that game's called, won't work. But the single player for the Metroid, the Zelda, and the Pikmin,
Donkey Kong Crash Course, which was actually my favorite single player thing to do. Getting all the secret stamps and things were a blast on that one.
Octopus Dance, they could cut that. That's not.
Yeah, I'm okay with cutting that. I played that like twice. But a lot of the greats also still have good single players that you could play by yourself, and then if you want to, you need a second Switch, or if they made it so you could play online with people, that would be awesome.
I have to mention we forgot about F-Zero, just like Nintendo. There's an F-Zero mini game as well. Where you race, you hold the gamepad and turn racing on the paths. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what these fancy Nintendo controllers have with them? Gyro. Still works.
That's why I believe that this game needs a sequel. Let's do it, Nintendo. And maybe the sequel is just a lot. It's a port plus more.
Yeah,
they get rid of the asymmetric games like Mario hide and seek and adapt it so it can be played on a single screen somehow.
I just want to work.
Right.
That's what have to trust. But you just have to trust people.
They keep all the things that will easily port and then add more to it.
Yeah, or they just
Splatoon could be thrown in there as a new game. There are a bunch of series.
I mean, they also just need to, because the Mario hide thing and the Luigi's Mansion are 2 of the best ones to play with a group.
Right.
I'm okay with them making it so you can only play that with multiple switches. I mean, Clubhouse 51 games. You need 2 switches for half of those games, seems like.
What are you talking about? No? What?
It has to do with tanks.
That is not half of the 51 games.
It's close.
If we round up. Oh my goodness. That was the most just straight made up fact that you've ever given on the show. All one of these games on here requires a gamepad.
Yeah,
there are a bunch that can do it with the on 51 games, but the tanks multiplayer almost requires it to do the actual game, which is dumb, so dumb. Should have.
Yeah, I mean, they could even have like with. Well, I don't see how the Luigi's Mansion work at all, actually. But like the Mario Run, I mean, as long as you trusted people not to screen peek, but I mean that just happens on accident.
Yeah,
But it's possible. It could be done.
could be. That's why
I don't even
I'm
think it
thinking
would
sequel.
be that difficult.
I'm
It would
thinking
just a lot of
sequel.
them would require online or
But
multiple systems.
you know what? All this talk about how it's not on my list. If they did it, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. So like this is one of my favorite games ever made. I can't state this enough that this game is so good. A gem, an absolute hidden gem on the Wii U that's sort of trapped there because of how reliant on the gamepad it is. Because it was the pack-in game. It was the Wii Sports. And this is
But better.
1,000 times better than Wii Sports was. And I am the biggest Wii Sports fan
Is
in the
it better
world.
than Switch Sports?
Yes. Nintendo Land? Oh, hands down. Hands down. I love Switch
I just
Sports.
had to get across how good this game actually is.
Yeah. I mean, you could pick a lot of games, and I'd be like, oh yeah, Nintendo Land's
Breath of
better
the
than that.
Wild?
No. You trying. You tried.
Spelunky 2.
That's a tough one. It's up there. It's up there with the Spelunky 2. You're getting into like my top 5 games of all time.
Divinity 2.
I'd probably say yes. Nintendo
Wow,
Land
so
is better.
I think Divinity 2 is better than Spelunky 2.
Oh, I enjoy Spelunky way more than you do. That's a guarantee.
Oh, I mean, I really enjoy Spelunky, but it's just not as good. It's just not quite as good.
Yeah,
The multiplayer in Divinity 2 worked better.
We've done the best games of all time before, haven't we? No, we've done best games on Switch. This will be a PAL topic for a future episode. We'll give our best games of all time. That'll be a hard list to make. Yeah, okay. This is a future episode. Stay tuned, everybody who's tuned in. And we're wrapping up the episode here. So thanks to everybody who tuned in. And yeah, we hope that these games get ported from the Wii U. Honorable mentions here: the Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Game and Wario. And that's all I have in honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions you want to toss out?
Nah, I mean, there's NES Remix, but you had that on your list, so
yeah,
that one almost made it on mine.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Pals Podcast. If you liked what you heard here, leave us a 5-star review on any of the many platforms that allow for it. Apple Podcasts, which we are very close to being over 50 in the US, 5-star reviews. And internationally, we're breaking ground, everybody. So everybody out there listening that hasn't left us a 5-star review, because I know you, listener, right now, yeah, you don't turn it off. Don't turn it off because you didn't leave us a 5-star review yet. Go down and do that. All right. Thank you. Please. And you can also follow and subscribe to our podcast on your podcast app of choice. And we appreciate that. Check out our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And I think that's it. Micah, am I forgetting any platforms? Maybe I am. Well, with that, Micah, I'm going to turn it over to you for closing remark by the one and only Micah.
Yep. And my closing remark is Nintendo Land is definitely better than Spelunky 2.
It's an opinion.
It's the correct opinion.
Wait, I'm going to pause it. Hold on. Outro music pausing. Reminder, we are doing a giveaway. So be sure to follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and share the hashtag Nintendo Pals B-Day, tagging a friend to enter for a chance to win an OLED, a Nintendo Switch OLED. All right, back to the outro music.